Hello and welcome to my coverage of the inaugural edition of the Hellenic Mountain Race. The Hellenic Mountain Race is a new race from the organisers of the Silk Road Mountain Race and the Atlas Mountain Race. So for those of you who are familiar with that, you'll know the kind of thing that's going down. So based in Greece, it's a relatively short race in the world of ultra racing, 938 kilometres, so it's less than 600 miles, but 29,000 meters of climbing, so that's a lot of elevation for the distance. Like the Atlas and the Silk Road, I'm sure it's going to be much tougher than people think. However, as it's the first edition, it's a bit of an unknown for everyone, including me, who's covering it. So as you can see, this is the rough route. So it starts in Meteora. That's a location in Greece that's been made famous by the transcontinental race finishing there. So it starts there, and we have this kind of loop around the top. The first checkpoint apparently is up a massive mountain. Again, rumour has it that it is predominantly gravel tracks and roads, and having ridden through that area, I can say there are a lot of fairly fast rolling gravel tracks. However, it's a race by Nelson. There's going to be some things put in there to catch people out. And even like the amount of climbing alone is going to be pretty tough on the riders. There's a fairly strong start list. Run through a few names. My favourite is Marin de Saint-Exupéry, the French rider. He won Atlas Mountain Race. He was 4th or 5th in TCR last year. Really strong. I actually saw him a couple of weeks back at the Tracker in Girona, and he was absolutely flying. So he's on good form. Liam Yates, he did a great ride at Dale's Divide. You may have seen my coverage of that. If you didn't, go back and have a check of that. He did a good strong ride there, so he should be good over this type of race. And then there's a few other names. Adrian Lechty, however you say it. Again, he was 3rd at last year's Tour Divide. Really strong, really resilient. He spent the winter touring in Africa, so he's going to have a really big base. Abe Kaufman, he was 4th, I believe, at Tour Divide last year. So again, really strong. Max Rice, again, he's done a lot of these. And as always, there's a few other names. Alexander Kopp, I don't know an awful lot about him. I think he's done a few of these races, but I'm not 100%. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be others that come in things as we go along. For the women's race, I don't actually know too much about the women's field. There's no kind of standout names at the moment. But it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on, just to see how that develops over time. I'll just put the filter on now, so we can see the women's field. So as you can see, there's not a massive amount of riders. There's a few riders I know. Elodie, she did the Rhino Run last November, finished that, so that's a really long, tough race. So she's fairly strong. Kate-Jane Lepin, I always forget her full name. She's done loads of these things, done TCR, various other races. Again, very, very consistent. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the women's race develops. So yeah, let's have a look. Another big story before the race has even started. We had our first scratch of the race, unfortunately, and it was another of my pre-race favourites, Sofian Sahili. So he was due to start the race and was riding to the event. I think he was riding from Albania across Macedonia and into Greece to get to the start. But unfortunately, he was bitten by or attacked by a group of sheepdogs. And as you can see, he's got a bandage around his calf. I've been in touch with him a bit this week, and he's basically got a 10 centimetre gash down the back of his calf. And it requires obviously bandaging, and the dressing needs to be changed quite regularly. And to be honest, I think racing an ultra with an open wound before we even started, it's just asking for infection. So unfortunately, he has had to scratch, which is a great shame. I was really looking forward to seeing how he got on with Marin in the race. So yeah, unfortunately, no Sofian in this race. I'm hoping to hear from him in the next few days and get a little update and see exactly what's gone on there. See what's going on at the head of affairs. So as you can see, the first checkpoint is about 200k in, and it's a bit of an sort of out and back. Now, I don't know an awful lot about the route, but from what I believe, there's a mountain refuge up here. So from what I gather, this is pretty much one of the sections that will benefit being on a mountain bike. So you go all the way up. Where are we? I assume it's this peak here. Yeah, so straight up, straight back down again. Probably one of the highest points on the race, I'd imagine. So it's a case of maybe if you've got a mountain bike, you can gain a load of time there, which maybe you wouldn't actually close anywhere else on the route. So we'll see where the riders are now. So they're about 9 to 10 hours in now. It's always hard to tell this early on what's going on. But they're 144k, so there's a bit of a group at the front. You know, everyone's just kind of settling in, but until tomorrow morning, I don't think we'll really know what's going on. We do have a little bit of news, like Marin is in 14th at the moment, which is quite surprising. However, I did find, if I can find something I prepared earlier, it looks like he's punctured. So when I spoke to him last week, he said he was going for a mountain bike, but running these really fast, kind of like big gravel tyres on his mountain bike. I think they're Vittoria Terranos. But it looks like it may be in a bit of a risk. It looks like he's had a bit of a cut on the sidewall, which isn't ideal in the first 100k. So he's going to have to take things really gently on the descents for the rest of the race. Looks like a really good stitching job on his part, but he's just going to have to be really cautious. It would have been a big rock or something he hit, I suspect. So that would explain why Marin currently is probably a little bit lower than I'd have expected. So he's about 25, just under k off the lead. So it's a long way to go, and there's a lot of climbing. You know, and if everyone else has gone down a hill ahead of him, which it looks like probably is the case, then they would have extended that lead. So keep an eye on that after the first checkpoint. I would expect him to rise through the rankings as we get on. A few other things. As always, check out the official Hellenic Mountain Race Instagram page. Race start this morning, so you see Matura's famous for those big rocks. I think there's kind of famous like caves and stuff in there. So yeah, pretty spectacular place to start a race. And that's the Facebook page, the Instagram page. So give them a follow. They'll have loads of good coverage, and you can see from what they've posted the kind of thing that we're looking at. So it's going to be primarily rideable dirt roads and rugged tracks, much in the vein of the other races. Probably not as rocky as Atlas, and the extremes probably won't be there quite like Silk Road. But you are in the mountains. As you can see, it's not all sunshine just because it's in Greece, and I hear rumours that the weather is pretty bad in that region. Certainly the Seven Serpents event over in Croatia, even the Giro d'Italia, the other side of the Adriatic, they're all experiencing really bad weather at the moment. So riders, I mean, it could catch people out. Sometimes riders make assumptions about the weather. They think a race in Greece is going to be warm and sunny, don't need to pack so much kit. But that's when you get caught out. So it'd be interesting to see as the race develops who's been caught out and who hasn't. I know for a fact this was Marin's setup that he was planning to take, but I know for a fact he's now had to take a bit of a bigger bag because he's taken on his rain gear, just in case. We've also got Adrian Lecht, so he's put some good shots up this morning. So 18k in, nice road. My internet is obviously not quick enough for showing videos, but you can see here that bear prints. This is the kind of terrain they're doing, and the areas they're going quite remote. But it looks like a fair few towns on the way. Not exactly dry and dusty, a bit of mud. I don't think it'll make too much difference to things. Like I've experienced some of these roads before, and they're fairly well packed, so should be all good. Another rider to keep an eye on, Liam Yates. So obviously this was this morning at the race start. He's obviously stopping for a can of Coke, getting a bit of food. Again, he's fairly strong, so I won't be surprised if he does come on up through the field as the race goes on. So there we have it. That is the first day of the Hellenic Mountain Race. I'm going to do daily coverage for the next 3 or 4 days. I expect the winning time to be under 4 days, maybe 3 and a bit days. Of course, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments. If I've missed anything, put them in the comments. And if you know any of the riders in the women's field we should be looking at, again, put them in the comments. And yeah, give us a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you again for tomorrow's update.